Alex from New Moon sent this quote. So I want to share this because I think this is a good segue for Harry. I may lose a battle, but I shall never lose a minute. Harry, you published a book that has to do with time. You're 168, which reference the number of hours that are in a week and make the most out of them. What's your biggest insight in the process of writing this book?
Yeah, I found it very, very interesting that people, in very cases, if they're not self-reflective, really have no idea where they spend their time. And
Mhm.
so, you'll ask somebody and say, "Hey, Orlando, would you like to go to lunch?" And the person will say, "Well, I just don't have the time." And I think to myself, no, you've got the time. You got 168 hours in a week, right? That's 24 times 7. You've got, now, maybe it's not a priority, and that's okay. But to say you don't, well, I love before Kelly's comment, I exercise every day. Well, I exercise every day. And when I run into other people, they'll say, well, I don't have the time. No, you've got the time. Now, if you figure out it's not a priority, well, okay, then why don't you just admit that? And I'm very, very focused on making sure that every single person knows where they spend their time and why. And I find it very, very interesting that, sometimes you'd say to yourself, well, yeah, but people know. And the example that I use is that I had an executive one time who said to me, I'm having trouble with my marriage. I don't have a good relationship with my children. Harry, I'd really like to talk to you. And I said, well, hey, I don't have any answers. No, but you have opinions, and I know you try to keep a balance. I'd love to talk to you. And I said, well, hey, I'll call the guy Charlie. Charlie, love to chat with you. Hey, tomorrow's Saturday. Why don't you come to the house and we can chat a little bit? Well, I can't do it tomorrow. I'm playing golf tomorrow. I said, okay, well, hey, on Sunday, after church, do you want to stop by? Well, I'm golfing on Sunday. Now, being a math guy, I'm thinking to myself, I think it takes 5 hours to play golf. That's 10 hours. Now, here's how open I am. If playing golf is more important to you than your children, now some of us may say, oh, I wouldn't want to say that. The beauty of admitting that is that you wouldn't be surprised. Because
Right.
one of the great things about being self-reflective is that it minimizes the surprise. In fact, that's why the second chapter of the book, Orlando, is literally called, Why Are You Surprised? Okay? If you decide you don't want to have important relationships, well, then that's okay. But I think taking the time to figure out where you spend your time. And, I tell the students, I was at Kellogg, was that a year ago too? No, it was 40 years ago. So, I went from being 25 to 65 like that. I said, snap of the
Mhm.
fingers, I'd be 105, but I won't be around. Now, that's either depressing or you say, no, it's not. I'll just make the most of every day. We've got a certain amount of time. You make the most of every day. And that's why I think it's important to realize, where are you spending your time? And is it linked to what you say is most important? And if it's not, why not?
Wow. I have an add-on to what you just said related to managing time. Our humanity leads us to be curious, and we are all curious. And when I talk to kids and I reflect on this, I'm curious, but I'm a doer. Um, we waste our time doing so much consuming of social media, et cetera, in the interest of being curious. No, I'm just loading, I'm just learning, I'm just translating that time into the doing, into the action means so much. So often we rationalize that being curious is a way of progress. But if you don't manage the time to be able to know how to respond, to be a producer instead of a consumer of information, that's magical. So that's awesome.